Howdy, it's tubalcain again, your YouTube shop teacher, and this is really part 2 of a 2-part video, so be sure and watch the previous numbered video where I talk about the patterns. And the subject of this video is I'm going to cast up one of these oil can accessory holders that clamps around the column of your drill press. Now, 2 3/4 inch diameter is the standard for home shop type of drill presses. So I have a friend in Wisconsin, Ted, who's a dentist, and he made these patterns for me, and they've been 3D printed. They are available on Thingiverse, and I'll put that link in the description, so check that out. Let's go over to the foundry now and cast one of these up. And again, I'm going to talk about the fact that this is a foundry pattern, although you probably could make it and print it and use it as is. But I want to cast it up. This is oversized, and I'll talk about that when I get to the foundry, and you'll see why. Ted put a lot of thought into this pattern before he printed it out, and he made several versions, and this is the final version. But again, this is a foundry pattern, and you can see by the little square here that we are tapered. Perhaps you can't see that, but it's tapered all the way around, but it's not tapered. That is, there is no draft in that portion. And the reason for that is because if it was tapered there and you clamped it onto the drill press, it would be it wouldn't set level. So it would have to be machined, and we really didn't want to do that. So Ted made this insert, this blue insert, and let me show you that. And it's just temporarily used in the mold. It is not part of the casting. So this blue insert will be used like this. That will also bring it to the right size. This is way too large here. This brings it to the right size, but he's also calculated that such that there will be a little bit of shrinkage, and it'll shrink down to the right size. Otherwise, it might not fit over the column. So that will be put in while molding. Notice that it's tapered this way, but it is tapered. No, I take it back. It's not tapered there. So the idea is I will ram it up and withdraw this, and then I can pull this sideways, should say sideways, out of the mold and lay it off to the side, and it's only used once. And this is the clamp, and I will attempt to put it in the same flask, so I only have to make one casting. But Ted provided holes here because it will be clamped with bolts, but those would not cast in well, so I knocked out the inserts and filled it with body putty so it's smooth and will withdraw. And this is tapered in all directions, including this way, I believe. No, I take it back. It's not tapered that way. It's tapered this way. So that might be a little difficult to pull out. We'll see. All right, let's do some molding. How's that? It's 5 hours later. Let's see what we have. That one looks pretty good. And that one looks pretty good too, doesn't it? Alright, I think I'll go down to the bandsaw and cut these off. They are still just a little bit too hot to touch with bare hands, but I think I've got 2 good castings. These castings look exceptionally good. There's really nothing to clean up right here, although I might run a half-round file over there. But I don't, yeah, right there, just a little bit. Now I'm going to put this on the belt sander here and clean those off. Although remember, that's already essentially 90 degrees. So I'm just going to knock off the gates. Maybe hit it with a file or the belt sander a little bit there, but that's even optional. These holes, of course, would have to be drilled out to whatever size you wanted for your drill bits or your accessories. So this is really a nice casting. Now you can see right here, a little parting line that shows you where that insert went and what the purpose of it is. Because look at this now. This is perfectly square in here, all the way around. So that was a stroke of genius for Ted. Now on this piece, a couple things. First of all, I'll sand that off. Half round there, a little bit of fall in, because, and that's pretty square. But what I need to do here is that this has pattern draft on it and is too thick. Thick enough such that when I screw them together, it will not clamp around the post. So I got to take a little bit off of that. Probably the pattern should be reduced a little bit in thickness, but we're not going to go back and do that. And then of course a hole drilled here and here through both pieces for clamping. Now there's one other option here. I'm not going to do it. I was going to go back and make yet one more casting, but I could use a hose clamp around here by trimming these ears off or lowering them, and just put a clamp right around there and not use this half. Possibly even a wire tie, although I don't think that would be tight enough, but I'm talking about a worm type of radiator hose clamp would do, and then that not necessary. So let me go over and touch these up just a little bit. Half round file. I'm drilling it while it's clamped around the column for alignment here, so I get the holes where I want them. They've already been drilled 1/8 or so and through the first piece, and now I'm drilling through the back piece. And this is 1 size over 1/4. And some 1.5 1/4" 20 screws, and I'm going to use wing nuts, see if they tighten up all right. And there it is, mounted on the Walker turner, and it's just tight enough so a fella can turn it or reposition it if it's in the way. Place for the chuck key, oil can, whatever else you want. Alright, here's the finished project. The only thing I would change is I would make this piece, I already said that, thinner. It just doesn't need to be that thick, because I would like to eliminate milling. But then again, you could probably just make this, print this out and use it as is. And then the option that I was just talking about regarding using a clamp like this instead of the back piece would simply be to either put a little bit of a slit right here, but it would be easier just to remove this corner like that on both sides, something like that, and have the clamp go clear around. You see it fits rather nicely actually, and around the drill press column, so that's a possibility also. So the pattern worked real well, the draft on it just right, and the whole concept that he came up of this filler piece or follow block, whatever we might call that, was just great. Again, we didn't need those holes there, and it looks pretty good. Could be painted, but of course these still would be drilled to whatever size you need for oh, the chuck key would probably go in here, but possibly countersinks like what I showed you out in the garage at the beginning of the video. Hope you liked the video, hope you liked the project, and remember I'll have the link for Thingiverse for that. And thank you so much for watching, thank you Ted, and I'll see you guys in the next video.